Hello, hello, Trinity here. So, for my birthday, which is next Thursday on the 26th of March, I got myself the pasta tarot because I saw this and thought it was just, the box was so cute. It actually feels like one of those um, tablecloths at an Italian restaurant. And I was like, oh my God, I've got to get this. It is so cute. But I'm not quite used to using it, and it is literally pasta language. And so we're going to not only do a reading, but we're going to learn a little bit about styles of pasta as well. I really, 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 really would love to have a bread tarot, um, because I always have a joke about, me and dating men, where it's, don't breadcrumb me, baby. I'm not gluten intolerant and I want the whole loaf. So who knows? Maybe I'll find one of these days, like I found this one. But the other funny thing was I actually sent the picture of this when I was thinking about getting it to my son. And we had to laugh at the synchronicity that happened because he was literally at the time listening to a song about the flying spaghetti monster. And it was like, all right, okay. So we're going to go ahead and talk about I watched Soulful Revolution's reading about, or it was a podcast about how to unhook yourself and looking at what wound we needed to heal within ourselves in order to unhook from unhealthy relationship dynamics. Okay. So we're going to be using this for the tarot because, it's cute. And we're going to be using the Sacred Woundings deck as well. So let's go ahead and shuffle this. Oh, goodness. All right. Well, apparently we have a message because one flew on the floor. I've got two of them. All right. Fear of change. And then I've got needing to address inner peace obstruction. All right. So basically, we're fearing change and we're refusing to let go of an obstacle that's standing in our way. So let's go ahead and talk about, let's first go into what obstacle we need to look at because, change, a lot of changes have been happening. I mean, it's the year of the fire horse, and we're really getting down to the nitty gritty and taking off after shedding a whole bunch of stuff from the year of the snake. And then we also had a really massive Mercury retrograde. I think my butt is still on fire from it. But it really served its purpose. It showed, at least myself, a lot of what needs to be changed within me. And it's shown me where I have made some pretty substantial changes, and I'm pretty proud of myself for seeing what I saw. Because there was a lot of stuff that I needed to make changes on. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead, and I'm being told that this is kind of hand in hand. All right. Hold on. Oh, wait. Isn't the guidebook cute? It's like a menu. All right. So this would be the Eight of Swords. Okay. So being in your own mind, wrapped up in your own thought process. All right. The Fool. This is the Six of Cups. And this is the Nine of Swords. All right. So let's go ahead and address this Eight of Swords here. I love the fact that she's wrapped in spaghetti because I kind of eat a lot. I eat a lot of Italian food. Usually it's pizza or like garlic bread with cheese on it and marinara sauce, but um so when I'm looking at this, I'm hearing the word uh bondage. Not just because of, the picture, but just there's something that is really holding you back, and it's one of those things where it's like it's up to you to let it go. Okay, so what it is pertaining to is actually, you know what? The more I look at this, because I'm looking at the Fool, so I'm hearing take a leap of faith and reconnect with family. So you may actually have some family that you've been distant from for some reason. I'm not sure what exactly that reason is, but that's okay. It doesn't matter to me. But the fact of the matter is, there's, sometimes family does need to be left behind. Okay. So if this is something where, let's say you had a really, really abusive parent and you had to let them go, I do not want you taking away from this reading that your guidance is to reconnect with someone who's abusive. I don't care how they're blood related to you. Okay. It's perfectly fine to detach from them. However, one of the things that I'm seeing is that almost like a change in perspective needs to be made so that you can let go of the ruminating thoughts, the voice in your head. Because oftentimes, like when you have complex post-traumatic stress disorder from childhood, you can get it through other things too, but whoever your abuser was, especially if it's narcissistic abuse, they kind of implant their voice in your head. And so until you can really challenge that voice and tell it to go away and gently remove that voice from your thought process. Oop. Okay. So I'm going to finish talking about that, but this is... Okay, so as I said that, until you can do that, you're going to really struggle to heal. This is the Star of Spirit. It's a Merkaba. And it was a pendant on my necklace. And obviously it came off. And I'm hearing the Star card, which is all about healing. So being able to let go of that. You may also have a difference in like religious pathways between you and your family, and that may have caused a divide between you guys, and that's a tough one. Because I am one who says that you should be very, very authentic, but this is actually recommending people who are not abusive to you, who you kind of were never... I'm hearing this. You were never allowed to be your true self in front of them, and their opinion of you is A, first, none of your business, but B, has been informed and influenced by the person who is abusing you through triangulation. And so it has been long enough for you to reconnect and to, just present yourself authentically to them. Maybe don't bring up religion or politics, though, because we don't need to be arguing about stuff, about belief systems. Right now, it's about healing. It's one thing to have a vigorous educational talk and bouncing ideas off of one another. It's another thing to, enter into a conversation where you are getting told that you're going to go to hell because you don't, accept Christ as your savior, or follow Muhammad or whatever. Insert dogma here. Keep the dogma out of it. So basically, if you're a 12-step individual, like I am, operating within the family as you would within a meeting, because in a meeting you're not going to bring up religion or politics. You should not be. That's breaking traditions if you are. So I would highly recommend not doing that, just because those traditions are how we keep it unified. And if you start interjecting your religious beliefs and ideals, or your political beliefs or ideals, that can be really harmful to the group, whether it is at a meeting or within the family. Okay. Now, the Nine of Swords. So you've been very, very guarded, and I think that's kind of part of your problem when you're interacting with your family. That they're sensing that guardedness. They're sensing that anxiety that you have, that apprehension, that defensiveness, particularly the defensiveness. If you can, I would meditate before going in there and just be emotionally regulated and not be afraid to be yourself, and give them the opportunity to learn who you are, because you are a gift on this planet. You can't control whether they accept you or not, but you can reintroduce yourself and give them that opportunity. And by staying away and staying hidden, that really robs them of something truly special, because having a relationship with you is a really special experience, because the person that I'm seeing here has done a lot of work. They've changed, like fundamentally changed a lot about themselves. And now you're like, with new people you meet, you're embraced wholeheartedly. But with people from your past, it's almost like you get very, very defensive, and there's no need to, because you're not the same person. And if they're still treating you as if you've not changed, that's on them, not on you. Keep being you, keep shining. For some reason, when I'm seeing this, obviously this is a 3D Star of David. I don't know if you can see it. Maybe. There we go. I'm not sure if you have a difference in opinion about, like, a really good example is, the arguments that people can have over Palestine and Israel. Set those aside. Because unless you're actually living in that country, just accept the fact that you don't know crap. Unless you have been educated heavily through college courses on the conflict that's gone over there, you don't know anything. And if you say, well, I watch a lot of news, that's propaganda. Quit using that. I mean, it is used to inform, but then you're supposed to go and learn more about it. And, your opinion may change once you do that, but that's not something you need to be arguing about if you don't live there. All right, let's find out inner peace obstruction. How can we remove that? Let's see, how can we remove the inner peace obstruction so that we can make these changes that we're being asked to make? Ooh, at the bottom of the deck, the Tower with all the plaster. And at the top of the deck, we got the High Priestess. Okay. I think how I'm interpreting that is that you deep down know that this is, once you make this change, there's going to be a lot of work to do. And there's going to be a lot of responsibility, but I tell you what, the first and foremost, you're never going to get more in your life gifted to you from the universe if you can't handle what you've got now. Well, if you are handling what you've got now and you're given more, you're going to have even more responsibility. And then you have to learn how to integrate that responsibility. That may be echoes of your previous self. The universe, God, your higher power would not be gifting you with this opportunity to expand if you were not ready for it, if you could not handle it. That's how manifestation works. The universe does not gift a whole bunch of money to people who need it. You can sit there and, plead with the universe about it, or you can learn how to live on what you have in peace, because a lot of times we get sick because we get so anxious because we think we need other things when in actuality we don't, and usually the universe provides. And so I can't even say usually, it always provides. That has been my experience. The universe has always provided for me. Even on my darkest days, even when I only had $300 to survive for 3 people for a month. Like I paid rent and then I only had $300 and it had to cover gas. It had to cover anything and everything that I needed for 3 people for 1 month. And I think that time period served its purpose because I was too shy to ask for help, and it would be like I would feed my kids that day and be like, okay, I can either eat or I can go to a meeting. I was about a year in recovery at the time. And I would decide, hey, my recovery comes first. And I know I'm getting really, really thin because I was like down below 105 pounds. And that is clinically anorexic for me, but I didn't have a choice. I didn't have food. And I had no capability of getting access to food pantries and stuff because of the situation that I was in. Because you had to have your name on a lease to prove that you lived in that county. And I was like being sheltered by someone. We were couch surfing. So, it really denied access to what the food that I could have gotten from free food pantries. Now, I would make the decision to put my recovery first instead of going to eat because I wanted to make sure that my kids were fed. And every single time I went to a meeting, every single time, someone would have brought in a casserole that they made to share with the group, or someone would have bought pizza for the group. Every single time, without fail. It was absolutely miraculous, and it really was, the point of it was to show me that I could trust my higher power to take care of me, even in my darkest days. And so that if I can pound in a point, trust the process, trust your higher power. You may think you know what you need, but God knows better. God always knows better. And so you may think you need money right now, but if you just kind of relax and sit down, I'm not seeing any manifestations of massive disease or anything, because that can be heartbreaking. And if I am getting to someone who has that, my condolences, and I will definitely keep anyone who's suffering from that in my prayers. But that's not really what I'm seeing on this. I'm seeing, the idea of what we need and the prayers for those needs, and then being frustrated by those seeming needs not being met. Right now, the universe is trying to turn your head into a different direction so you can change something that is really important, that needs to be addressed first. And then once that's addressed, the rest of it will come to you, okay? All right. So I've got, hold on. Okay, so I've got the 9 of Cups, okay? And this guy is kind of sitting there looking gluttonous. And so you might want to look at where you're being lazy or gluttonous and make an effort to change that little by little. Because trauma can sometimes cause a person to be really held back and unmotivated to get stuff done. It may not be laziness. It may appear like that from the outside, but we also can't use that as a crutch because you're safe now. You're safe now. Obviously, if you are in a situation where you're still living in an abusive situation, get out of it. But like I said, this energy right here, this is someone who has to accept that they're safe now. The voices in their head are not real. The things they're telling themselves are erroneous. And it's time to start making those changes little by little. And like I said on my last reading, those changes can be incremental. And in fact, oftentimes the healing process is sped up by taking it low and slow. Think of yourself as a slow cooker if you need to, since we're talking about food. All right. So I've got the Page of Swords. And he looks fabulous. I've got the Hermit. And then I've got the Knight. I think this is the Knight of Wands. Let me check. Yes, Knight of Wands. Saying the Serenity Prayer may help. Oh, and then also I'm getting a secondary message. You may need to really watch out for, it looks like there are two people in your stratosphere, and you need to use your discernment as to who is the Knight of Wands, which is the fuckboy of the tarot. And I'm not afraid to say it. I'll call you out. But also the Page of Swords, which is someone who is studious. They can also be a stalker. But I'm not seeing that within this reading. And I'm seeing be cautious because I've got the Nine of Swords and the Knight of Wands. So I'm reading that as be cautious with this person who is the fly-by-night type of a guy. He wants to give you his wand and not much else. And then he wants to give his wand to, 10 other people. So be cautious about that. The other thing is, it's saying take a leap of faith in the Page of Swords. Now, if you are not seeing anyone and you don't have anyone in your stratosphere, that is telling you to educate yourself. And, educating yourself on what you can do to kind of unbind yourself from being stuck in your own head, doing those little tiny things every day, praying, meditating, getting up and taking action, doing step work is going to be really important right now, because oftentimes change can be jarring and can be triggering, and we don't want to be triggered and then use that trigger as a justification to drink, because drinking and drugging is a choice. I don't care how triggered you are. I'm telling you what, this far in my recovery, you can throw almost anything at me, and I understand that it's a choice, that I may have a disease, but it's a disease of choice. And so I can quickly convince myself to buy into my own BS and justifications. And right now, that would be a horrible time to do that, because that would actually put you 10 steps back. It will always put you 10 steps back. Anything that happens in your life will be 10 times harder by adding substances to it. So that's going to be really important moving forward, is just to educate yourself and then go low and slow. And then the Serenity Prayer is something that I'm also hearing. Educating yourself on the difference, like gaining the wisdom to know the difference between what you can control, what you can change, and what you cannot. Okay? And then getting the courage to make that change. But right now, it's more like praying for guidance as to what exactly you're stuck in your head about. Like what habits, like maybe take a journal and write down the things that you are doing. Like, how we do a financial budget? Some of us do a financial budget. I'm not the best at it, and it is something I need to do. But, especially now that my life has changed, but, a time budget. Because if you think about it, absolutely nothing is more valuable than your time. Every single human being has the same number of 24 hours in a day. How we utilize that time makes the difference in how successful we are or not. Like, I'm doing a tarot reading instead of watching a tarot reading. I am going to be going bowling instead of sitting down and scrolling through TikTok later. So am I having fun in each instance? Yes. But the other one will stack up, like community and connections and fellowship all in that, whereas the other one is isolatory and just kind of staying at home and not interacting with anybody else, just consuming. So I think that's another aspect of it, especially with this. You've been consuming too much of something. What is that? Figure out what that is. It's more than likely social media. I know I'm guilty of that. But if it's not drugs and alcohol, which I'm really hoping it's not, because you got to be honest with yourself and get some help if you are struggling with that. I've been there, I've done that, I've walked the steps, and it has made a huge difference in my life. But figure out what you're consuming too much of, because where are you giving your time to other people who really haven't earned it? And oftentimes when we're scrolling social media or like binge watching a show for hours and hours, from time to time, that's okay. Sometimes you just need to veg out. That's okay. From time to time, moderation in everything. Okay. So get out there, quit consuming other people's stuff and start creating your own, is what I'm hearing. And then everything has been paintings and paintbrushes today for me. So if you're a painter, definitely get out there and paint. I know I am going to probably, I'm supposed to be bowling, but I think I'm also going to bring a coloring book or a sketch pad and just like when I'm waiting for my turn, doodling. Because I need to get more into the creative process too. Just energetically, it really, really helps. I hope this helped clarify some stuff that we can work on collectively, because I get messages through these too. So don't think that you're just coming down. I'm coming down on you. I'm coming down on myself just as much. But anyway, until next time, if no one's told you today, know that I love you. Take care.